Every day there was some new development that was just crazy.
He actually literally wrote some of these stories with his text messages.
This wasn't some story about sex.
I think the only person who's responsible for what happened to him is Kwame Kilpatrick himself.
I mean, we dropped the big bomb at the beginning that showed that he lied under oath, but then that story sort of took on a life of its own, and every day there was some new development that was just crazy. We couldn't believe the things that happened, you know, from the mayor getting up to the State of the City speech and, you know, calling out the city council president at the time and saying we need to come together, and you're sitting out in the audience dissing me. And, you know, he did a public apology on TV with his wife, and then there was the assault on the sheriff's deputy. I mean, this story was like a roller coaster. And we just did the investigative part of that story every time it came up. And we were writing stuff every day for a long time there, for about a year and a half, just about, you know, the latest development on the Kilpatrick saga.
I think it feels very gratifying that we were able to give some justice to Detroiters, that we were able to expose wrongdoing by public officials who were sworn to serve the public but instead serve themselves. But in terms of what happened to Kwame Kilpatrick, he did it to himself. I mean, you know, he actually literally wrote some of these stories with his text messages. I mean, we used his own words, and they were the ones that were incriminating.
It was a huge abuse of the public trust. I mean, I think that's what you're getting at. This wasn't some story about sex. You know, it was a story about a politician who got into his own realm and decided to use his power and authority to ruin the careers of police officers, to misuse taxpayer money. You know, he used $8.4 million to try to cover up his misdeeds. And it was about lying under oath, committing a crime. And so we thought it was a really important story, and while we didn't set out to win the Pulitzer doing this story, it was really gratifying when we won the Pulitzer.
But we've heard more from other journalists who, and this is probably cooler than the Pulitzer Prize, who've just said that, you know, things have been so hard for journalists lately that this story really reminded them of why they got into the business. And that this story has been, you know, I know it sounds kind of corny, but it's been inspirational to them. And I think when the people who you like and respect and who are doing the same thing you're doing really dig what you're doing, that's really cool. You know, when you see somebody who gets high on their own supply, it reminds you that you should probably be humble. Because as great as things were for Kwame Kilpatrick at one time, it totally sucks for him now. So we're not going to fall into that trap.
Days for me in the whole thing was when Kilpatrick got charged with crimes. And it wasn't because we were happy that he got, you know, that our work got somebody charged with a crime, but it was because somebody else independent of us had taken our work and recreated it, gone down the same paths that we had and duplicated it, and found out that what we wrote was accurate.
I don't really believe in luck. I think that luck is about working really hard and being prepared when an opportunity presents itself. If you want to call that luck, that's fine. But I don't know anybody who's gotten lucky by sitting on their